Greetings, Jedi traders. David here of TradingFibs.com to bring you the daily trend for week 44, day 5. It's the end of the week, November 4th, 2016. As always, please seek financial advisement when trading with your money, as these videos are for educational purposes only. To support your knowledge in the market, see what's going through my head on any given day. Always make sure you have a solid trading plan and always manage your stop when placing a trade. Wow, what a week. And yet to come with pre-election uncertainty, surely with earnings mixed in, non-farm payrolls today. It's been a roller coaster, to say the least. Volatility at hand. I think by the time we get to next week, maybe we can find a little bit of safetiness in the market if eventually it can make up its mind. Let's take a look at the highlight of the charts today, and then we'll see where we are in current trend, technical momentum, and then leave it up to the market next week to take us where we're going to go. All right, daily trend today. Non-farm payrolls came out. A lot of AM volatility on that. Crude, again, pretty volatile today in both directions. We'll show you a chart on that today. No new open gaps today. 4-hour chart still remain in the downtrend. And as I said, pre-election uncertainty is absolutely heating up here. All right, let's take a look at some of the highlighted charts today as posted online. You can catch those on Twitter or any of the variety of social media markets that I post these charts out through the day, or in the blog, as you'll see here at TradingFibs.com. Take a look here at the NQ first setup. This was non-farm payrolls release. Had a nice setup above the T350. Again, looking for the highest probability entry above the 5144 grayish cloud here. A technical momentum of trend. You have a T3, the Tim Tilson T3 moving average, and you have a 10-period moving average. You could set that to whatever you want, 5, 10, 8. It depends, up to you. It doesn't matter. The key is that price action was in trend, and when it's in trend, we can see that on the candles. So you get yourself a setup here, core setup with 3 charts in the turquoise color or green, and you got yourself a setup to the upside. Now, in conjunction, you can see price action when you go down to a 1-minute chart, usually watching these on a Flex Renko range chart. There you go. You got a little bit of resistance on the AD line right here at the pivot. And so you decide, hey, it's not going any further at this point, and you decide maybe a good point to manage the trade and take off whatever contracts you had left. So relying on that market internal, the AD line, always a good trading tool to have in your pocket. All right. NQ, again, I talked about that AM volatility. Well, there it was, almost algo-like trading there as price action just whipped 2 minutes. That from arrow to arrow right there, all within seconds there, as the price action 2 minutes before the U.S. Open was just whipping down. Very tough to get in on any setup here, even though it looks great based on the T3 trading setup. Here it is under the cloud underneath the T350. You got yourself a setup, but again, this was quite quick. Once the market opened, a little bit more volatility, as you can see here on the NQ chart. A lot of whip snap downside, finally slowed down. And here on our AM session, you can see the opportunities on the NQ charts, either above or below the cloud and the T350. And again, the T310 or T35 or whatever period moving average you set it to, a nice way to stay in the trend as well, together with the candles indicating remain in the trend as long as you can and manage it on the way up or way down. So very nice AM session there on the NQ as price action finally followed to the upside, but not as smooth as, that's right, the ES. There it was, price action similar, up, down, another entry to the downside, but then a little bit more control. Again, the deeper pullbacks might have taken you out. You jump back in, but a lot less whip snap than we saw there on the NQ on the first charts. All right, so there it was, ES. Very nice move here. Again, this was pre-market non-farm payrolls. Again, same nice setup here. Solid body candles. They're in trend to the upside. There's the AD line. Same scenario. Bail on the trade, exit, manage it, however you have to do, but that's a good indicator to come off as price action was going no further. All right. here it was. We mentioned crude, volatility on crude. Yeah, look at that. Nice crude downside. Core setup here. Solid body. Heiken Ashi bars downside underneath the cloud, underneath the T350. Again, this cloud here, not Ichimoku. This is a 5144 exponential moving average. It's an overlay from a 1-minute chart. And then you have the range bars to keep you in really nice trading strategy. Very simple. Again, sometimes you have to wait a bar or two to get that trend going. But once it's in, it's all about the trade management strategy. So crude getting a little bit whip snap this morning as the news just drove it right back to the upside. And we'll take a look at the crude chart here in a little bit. And you can see we didn't exactly stay to the upside for the rest of the day. Highlighted here, we could see the NQ again making a nice setup to the upside. Breaking upside above the 25-minute open range. If your stops at the swing size is recommended for as trading Fibonacci targets, Fibonacci extensions, or just price action breaks upside, place your stop at the most recent swing size. Sometimes you're going to have to take a little heat depending on your, obviously depending on your portfolio, but price action eventually reaches right up to the fib projection level. And the point of this chart, again, I want to show you that tool here on the AD line holding above the 10 EMA. There it is, reaches that 45 level and not able to break upside. So you're saying there it is. There's another setup at the high here with all the charts in sync, and you hold off from taking the entry because that AD line hasn't broken upside. Don't rule that AD line out, guys. Wonderful tool to have in your basket. And as you can see, NQ never was able to break upside from that projection level. And then you had a small scalp opportunity underneath the cloud here on the core setup as VWAP was below. All right, highlights of charts here. NQ, YM, and ES. Again, great picture here of all three markets are indices in sync to the downside. Lovely move here in the afternoon as price action could not stay upside, and so all three indices turned downside. And there it was, the NQ in the PM session after that little jaunt up and turned around right to the downside throughout the afternoon. And same picture here on the ES, little lift and back downside. Very smooth, very controlled. Couple little wicks, little pullback, but not pushing above the 5144. So PM session pretty much to the downside. And there it was. YM not as grand today. A couple of entries, AM session here, and then as price action rode out through the remainder of the AM session to the upside, just didn't move as much to the downside. Again, if it wasn't moving as quick, you could have gone to a lower time frame. That's always an option. All right, so there it was. A lot of chop in the beginning, finally a pop, and yep, we finished drop to the downside. Take a look at the daily gaps for today. Nothing new. We didn't close anything out. We didn't open anything. So right now, crude, after forming some upper gaps here, continues to move downside. Watch the most recent swing lows down here. See if we break those. If we do, we're going for some open gaps down there. 37.90 is my first target. 20.29 on the ES. 17.306, and a variety of open gaps both on the ETFs as well as the futures markets here. So keep an eye on that. Daily, as we'll see in the daily big pick, we're definitely on a 4-hour chart to the downside. When it comes to fib levels, did pretty good today here on the intraday charts here. ES to the upside, YM hitting the upside there mid-session as well as the AM session, and NQ after this is a 60-minute chart. These are two 15-minute charts, but that's all right. Here for November 4th, we got that target high to the upside, really never being able to get any deeper down to the lower fib target. I mentioned the AD lines. Again, advancers and decliners, something I watch off screen. I don't sometimes have enough screen space, so you're watching another monitor. Again, you can see the similar price action both on the AD line, as you'll see on the range charts here. Price action in the morning lifts after a little bit of a chop and then drops throughout the session. A little bit of pause here at the pivot on the NQ as well as the ES, and pretty much just fizzled out the rest of the day. All right, let's take a look at some key charts here. Again, here was the ES price action in the morning session. Look at that roller coaster ride. Some of this price action a little bit quick, but eventually some smooth entries. Nothing really being able to break out of that Globex session. As you can see, the high and the low. So you take your contracts off a little sooner, but a nice little drive that we saw up here. And then finally the turnaround underneath the cloud, underneath the T350 gives you that first entry. Watch that VWAP stall, and that's exactly what it did. Got a nice tail to the upside, and eventually drove down, tested that 50 EMA, and then came back down and fizzled out with some chop there on the ES. So not a bad move, but pretty much almost a flat session. We took the look at the NQ and the YM there. Let's take a look at the crude again. I mentioned that crude price action downside, whip back up and right back down. So we pretty much even session on the crude as we finish out in the mid 43s. Taking a look at gold again, quiet session on the gold. Started to get some moves here. There was gold to the upside, solid body, Heikin-Ashi bars, breaks out of the Globex high, but unable to really maintain. He had a nice move here, a couple pockets of opportunity above the Globex high with all charts in sync. You'd be watching either order flow or watching another indicator to see if there was going to be any momentum, but for the most part, right today, gold finishing out to the side. And 6E together with the indices, as indices rode down, you had another opportunity on the 6E to the upside. Nice moves. Again, a lot of indecision candles here in the mid-morning session. We had a lot of chop. Finally, we got a nice little pop. Price action and 6E finishing to the upside. So nice uptrend to finish out the day. All right, so that again is today's action, which is not indicative of what will happen next week. As we take a look at the daily big pick, price action on the NQ is back down to the 50 and the 200. Same thing on the YM. We've been seeing articles, posts online. You see that the ES is finding that support at the 200 period moving average on good volume. Big picture 4-hour chart has been downside. So whether you're trading the ETF, you got that mindset a little bit that price action's been to the downside. 50 underneath 144. So I got to go with the continued downtrend. Any pullback on any of these three indices is going to come up and test that 5144 as well as the T350. If we test it, we bounce, we come back down. We have a bona fide, guaranteed downtrend on all three indices. So right now, a little bit of sideways action as we head into next week. Take a look at crude. Got to still stick with the downside as 50 is now below the 144. We are finding support at the 200. I mentioned on the daily, we have a couple former levels here before price action pop. So I would like to see price action next week either follow through. If we break that 200, we will continue downside. And so you got your intraday levels to watch as well as that daily gap that we showed you here. 37.90 would be the next move down there on the crude. Taking a look at the gold, as gold pretty much finished sideways today. Again, a little bit of consolidation as we head into next week. 200 period moving average, 50 MA, holding in a very small gap. Again, 50 above the 144 here on the 4-hour chart. So I got to still stick with the uptrend on the gold. Any retest on pullback will come down to the 50 or the 144. Anything upside, obviously, will be any intraday levels that we watch. Taking a look here at the bonds. Bonds, again, getting a little bit of a kickback up this week as, again, the VIX is in relation as well, doing some amazing moves in the last couple weeks. But there it is. Bonds to the upside, 50, still below the 144. So we got still a downtrend pullback, but with some serious strength here as price action on the bonds lifting. Watch for that 50 SMA on a daily chart as well. But I got to still go with the downtrend, but weakening here on the bonds. And then taking a look and wrapping up on the EMD, another option to trade the indices is the mid-cap 400, like we saw in the ES, testing that 200 SMA support, sitting downside. I still got to go with the downtrend on the EMD. Any upside move will be intraday, and look for the 50 EMA, T350, and the 144 for any resistance upside. If it holds and comes back downside, then we have some serious sell-off there. Taking a look at the 6E, again, as we saw on the intraday chart, 6E with a nice move back upside here today to test at 50 SMA on a daily. 50 crossing the 144 here, so I like the current trend on the, and I apologize, this is a 6E chart. I apologize, it says EMD here, but 4-hour chart, or do I have these? I might have these switched around here. Hang on a second. Nope, I got them right. I just got them labeled differently. So this is the This is the 6E here. Again, I got to go with the uptrend now as the 50 is above the 144 and we're holding upside. And then to round it out, the yen testing that 50. So again, this is what I'm looking for. As you can see here on the 6E chart, I can see here on the 6J. Same situation. Price action lifts upside. We got the 50 still below the 144. I got price action above the moving averages, but I also have a test of the 50 SMA, which now the 6J, the yen, is testing. And if it holds here, price action comes back downside, it will support the 4-hour trend, which is still to the downside. Only reflective, though, on the pullback as the price action has pushed above both moving averages. So I still got to go with the downtrend pullback on the yen. All right, heading into next week. As price action, we got Tuesday. There it is, presidential election. I think that's what we're all leading up to, as we know. So sure is going to make for an amazing Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Finish out with jobless claims. Hey, there are those Fed speakers out after FOMC this week. So there it is, Fed speakers. And then Friday, quiet session there as banks are closed. Markets still will be open as we head into Veterans Day holidays. Earnings coming up next week, still in session here. Monday, a lighter session. Tuesday, we ramp it up again with about 110 before the open. Earnings before 139. Big companies still yet to come, but the majority of the big ones that we like to watch are out already. And we finish up Friday with some quiet action on the earnings front. All right, that concludes an insight into the daily trend and technical momentum of the indices and key futures markets. Feel free to stop by at tradingfibs.com or any of my social media outlets to obtain more information. My mantra, a one simple strategy, any market, any chart, any time frame will keep you disciplined. You can find me every day on Twitter here at Trading Fibs. And as always, I leave the crystal ball to the experts. I only watch what's in front of me and on my charts. And as always, leave your bias at the door when trading. You can also check me out on StockTwits as well, another wonderful social media for investors and short-term traders. Make sure you check out the Week 44 recap, which just highlights the week, including any videos that were posted. For those that are interested in joining us in our community of like-minded traders seeking highest probability setups, feel free to email me, david@tradingfibs.com. You may join us on any Thursday or Friday to view the live chart setups as they happen in the trading day. Hey guys, have yourselves a Blue Zone weekend wherever you may be. Good day, good night, good trading, and what a year for the Cubs. Everybody have a great weekend.